Speaking of special relationships...
Saying shit or ship? Shit.
Ships, yesterday Jeremy Corbyn announced that his Labour MPs will be under a 3-line whip.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
To vote through the government's Article 50 bill when it reaches the Commons next month. Since then, though, all hell has broken loose.
Donations to the Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?
Overnight, two Labour whips, now they're the ones responsible for party discipline, they've said that they are likely to vote against, to vote to block Article 50.
You serious?
But neither Thankam Debonair nor Jeff Smith would say they would resign their position, which could force Jeremy Corbyn to sack them.
Get the fuck out of here.
One person who has quit, though, is Tulip Siddiq.
Ow! Oh! You just took one in the jugular, man.
Whose North London seat borders that of Jeremy Corbyn and of Brexit spokesman Keir Starmer. She resigned as Shadow Early Years Minister last night, saying loyalty to her constituents meant she had no choice but to go.
And always let your conscience be your guide. Goodbye, my lady.
Goodbye.
Other frontbenchers who say they will vote against the Labour whip are Shadow Transport Minister Daniel Zeichner.
I'm not a smart man.
And Shadow Foreign Minister Catherine West, another North London MP. Now, sources have been talking to the media that between 60 and 80 Labour MPs could rebel.
Really?
Though so far only a handful have said publicly that they will vote against the government bill.
I don't believe it.
And the highest profile potential rebel, Shadow Defence Secretary Clive Lewis, well, yesterday he withdrew his threat. He said he respected the result of the referendum and would vote with the whip for Article 50. To discuss all this, we're joined from Cardiff by former Labour leadership candidate Owen Smith. I should mention we did ask the Labour Party for an interview with a member of Mr Corbyn's shadow cabinet, but none was available. So we go to Owen Smith. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Andrew.
You've said that you'll vote against Article 50. The country voted to leave the European Union, so why are you doing that?
Because I can't in all conscience vote for something that I think is, in my view, going to make the constituents I represent poorer and our country poorer and more isolated in the world, and ultimately foster or nurture, compound the meaner politics we seem to have in our country and across the West.
Bullshit, motherfucker!
The Shadow Home Secretary, Diane Abbott, says MPs like you are, quote, undermining democracy.
Well, I don't think democracy started on June the 23rd. You know, that wasn't year zero for democracy. We've got a long-standing mandate as MPs to be representatives of our constituents and to use our judgment in representing them. I'm not a delegate from my constituency, but my constituency, actually, Andrew, the one piece of academic research that's been done looking at which way my constituents voted suggested they voted 55-45 to remain within the EU. So in that regard, I think I am also reflecting their view.
Lying son of a bitch.
But to be honest, my view is that this is bad for Britain, and we, the Labour Party, need to speak up for our convictions as pro-Europeans, but actually, more importantly, as people who are going to defend jobs and opportunities and the growth in our GDP in the UK. And if we think Brexit is bad for all those things, then I think we should vote against it.
And how many do you reckon like-minded Labour MPs are there?
I don't know, is the honest answer. I think it could be between 20 and 50. And I think people will be making their minds up over the next few days. And there will obviously be other opportunities when people will be able to express their views in respect of aspects of it, the customs union, the single market. But for my money, I think we should be seeking to get another referendum, a confirmatory referendum at the end of the process. That's the amendments, or one of the amendments that I tabled yesterday. But I'm also going to be voting against Article 50, I imagine, because I doubt very much whether my amendment will pass.
So let's be generous. Let's say you've got 50 Labour MPs that think the way you do. You've got one Conservative, you've got the Lib Dems, you've got one Green, and you've got the Scottish Nationalists, of course. So the rebellion's already failed on takeoff.
Well, I'm not anticipating...
A bit like the Trident missile.
Well, look, Andrew, I'm not anticipating...
Off in the wrong direction and then foot into the sea.
Well, I think I demur slightly. I think we're going in the right direction, but you might be right in as much as the end point might be that we land in the sea. I'm not anticipating that we will be able to stop Article 50. I think there is a majority in the Commons, in the Labour Party and in the Tories to get that passed. But I think the right thing for me to do, and I think the right thing, to be honest, for Labour to do, is to stand against it. But I appreciate that I'm in a sizable minority on that point.
I understand, but the reason why the government can bank on a clear majority for Article 50 without even having to hold its breath or bite its nails is because your party has opposed a three-line whip to vote for Article 50. If it gets through Parliament without even being scratched on the way, that will be down to Labour, down to your party.
Yes.
I'll leave it there. That's the best answer I've had in weeks from that.
It was quite funny that Jeremy Corbyn, who's constantly derided for being a hopeless buffoon and on the edge of madness, has done something so straightforwardly sensible and is now being opposed by people whose attitude seems to me to be little short of crazy. The British public have voted to leave the European Union. If any party which now publicly stands to say we'd actually like to defy that decision is putting itself in a position of actual derision. You simply cannot do that. However you want to oppose what's happened at the referendum, if you want to oppose it, saying we don't accept this result and we're going to carry on sulking until you give us another cake, is not going to work. Jeremy Corbyn's decision was the only conceivable right one, and these poor, desperate Blairites who've seen their whole raison d'etre seized by the Conservative Party, which is now the Blairite Party, don't know what to do. I think they should join the Conservative Party. It's where they belong. They'd be much happier there.
Congregation, I said, can I get an amen?
Okay, I'm not holding my breath for that, but we shall see.
No, sensible things so seldom happen, but it would be the right thing.
Very well. No, I understand that. That's your view.